Have you ever looked at something old and thought it was useless, only to realize it could become breathtaking? Today on Simply DIY, we'll explore unbelievable ways to upcycle old doors, painted stones, and even tires, turning them into stunning garden borders, tiny patios, and backyard decor that will inspire you to see trash in a whole new light. Remember, the images you see are purely inspiration. If you love the ideas, recreate them with what you already have, add your own creativity, and make them truly yours. And before we dive in, maybe to you, I'm just another voice on a screen. But every like, every comment, every subscribe keeps this dream alive. You're not just helping a channel grow, you're giving a small family hope, one click at a time. Thank you for being here. Sometimes, the most ordinary things can hold the power to transform a space. Picture an old door, once forgotten in the corner of a shed, now standing tall in a tiny patio, reborn as a vertical flower wall. Its faded wood is painted in soft pastel, carrying pots of geraniums, lavender, and daisies that burst with life and fragrance. Gentle vines weave around its edges as if nature itself wanted to embrace this second chance. This idea is more than decoration, it's a story of renewal. By reusing a simple door, you invite character and charm into a small garden. It doesn't demand much, just a few clay pots, some blooming flowers that thrive in your climate, and a bit of care. The vertical design is perfect for tiny spaces, lifting your garden upwards instead of spreading it out. Notice how the clean stone tiles below reflect the sunlight, making every color glow brighter, while the small wooden fence nearby frames the entire scene like a painting. If you listen closely, you can almost hear the gentle hum of bees and the laughter of children playing around it. And that is the beauty of DIY, where imagination meets practicality, and forgotten pieces of yesterday become timeless treasures for today. There's a quiet magic in giving new life to what others might throw away. Imagine stepping into a tiny yard, where instead of ordinary wooden panels, the fence is made entirely from old doors. Each one carries its own story, painted in soft pastels, blue, green, and yellow, like brushstrokes on a canvas. Some are chipped, some weathered, yet together they create a tapestry of character that feels both whimsical and warm. This is the beauty of upcycling. It asks so little but offers so much. By simply standing the doors side by side, you've built a fence that shields your garden while adding personality to the space. Add climbing ivy or trailing vines, and suddenly those forgotten doors feel alive again, whispering with leaves that rustle in the breeze. Place a few flower baskets along the panels, bright marigolds, cheerful daisies, or even herbs for a touch of fragrance, and the fence becomes more than a boundary. It turns into a living gallery. Tiny yards often struggle with charm, but with this idea, even the smallest patch of earth becomes a sanctuary. The texture of old wood against fresh grass, the play of sunlight across peeling paint, the way flowers soften every edge, it all combines to create a place that welcomes you home. And the best part? It's simple, affordable, and endlessly personal. A fence not just to enclose, but to embrace. Every garden deserves an entrance that feels like a gentle welcome, a doorway that invites you to pause before stepping into a space of calm. Picture an old door, weathered by time, standing once again as a gate. Its wood may be faded, its paint chipped, yet draped in ivy and climbing roses, it becomes something poetic. What was once forgotten now whispers beauty at the edge of your garden. Turning a discarded door into a gate is more than practical. It is an act of imagination. You don't need expensive materials or complicated tools. Just secure the frame, allow nature to do her work, and watch as vines weave their way upward, softening every rough edge. Over time, the door seems to merge with the garden itself, blurring the line between what is built by hand and what is grown by earth. The charm of this idea lies in its simplicity. A touch of pastel paint can add character, while letting it weather naturally offers a rustic, timeless feel. Add a gravel or stone path leading through the gate, and you've created not just an entrance, but an experience. Each time you pass through, the colors, textures, and scents remind you that beauty is often found in what we choose to give a second life. In the quiet corner of a backyard, an old door stands tall, no longer guarding a room but instead embracing a new purpose. With a simple wooden shelf attached, it becomes a potting table, a place where soil meets seed and dreams of flowers begin. The once weathered paint, whether pastel blue or rustic white, now frames terracotta pots overflowing with herbs and blooms, each one carrying the fragrance of life. This transformation is more than clever reuse. It is a daily companion for anyone who loves to tend the earth. A few hooks on the door hold gloves and tools, always within reach. Small shelves cradle jars of seeds, waiting for the right season. And beneath the table, crates or baskets store soil and watering cans, keeping the space neat and inviting. It's a simple design, yet deeply practical, reminding us that beauty often hides in functionality. When you stand before it, brushing soil from your hands, the world seems to slow. The garden around you hums quietly, vines crawl gently up the frame, and the light shifts across the wooden surface. Here, in this corner, creativity meets care. An old door once forgotten now holds the promise of growth, season after season. There is something delightful in the way small details can bring joy to a garden. Picture a row of smooth river stones, each one transformed by a careful hand into a bright red ladybug. Their black dots and glossy finish gleam in the sunlight, resting neatly along the edge of a flower bed. Suddenly, a simple border becomes alive with charm, guiding the eye and lifting the spirit. What makes this idea special is its simplicity. Stones are everywhere, waiting to be gathered, washed, and given a touch of paint. A few strokes of red, a few dots of black, and you've created a family of little guardians for your garden. They don't fade with the season, they ask for no water or care, yet they keep their cheer all year long. These painted stones are more than decoration. They are conversation starters, moments of play for children, and accents that highlight the beauty of the flowers or vegetables they surround. Placed along a vegetable patch, they make lettuce and tomatoes look brighter. Set by a gravel path, they add a playful rhythm to each step you take. It's a reminder that creativity doesn't need to be grand to be meaningful. Sometimes, a handful of painted stones can be enough to make even the smallest garden feel magical. Sometimes, the smallest touches can change the way a garden feels. Imagine a row of smooth stones, each one hand-painted into a butterfly with wings of bright blue and orange, or a bee with cheerful yellow stripes and tiny white wings. Placed along the edge of a flower bed or a narrow path, they seem to dance and hum, as if nature herself had left them behind as gifts. This project is wonderfully simple, yet the results are striking. Stones are easy to find, and with a few strokes of paint, you can create a border that feels alive. The designs don't have to be perfect, every butterfly unique, every bee slightly different, and that's what gives the edging its charm. Sunlight glints off the glossy paint, making the colors shine brighter against the dark soil and fresh greenery. It's more than decoration. Painted stones like these can guide a walkway, mark the edge of a vegetable patch, or simply bring a sense of playfulness to a small garden. Children often love helping, adding their own brushstrokes, so the project becomes a shared memory as much as a creative idea. And as you walk past these tiny insects, frozen in paint yet full of character, you realize that beauty in a garden is not only in the blooms, but in the little details that make you smile each time you see them. A pathway does more than lead your steps. It sets the rhythm of how you move through a garden. Imagine stones arranged in a playful curve, painted in shades of green and black, forming the body of a snake that gently weaves its way across a small yard. The eyes at the beginning of the path seem to watch over the garden, while the winding form invites curiosity with each step forward. What makes this idea enchanting is how easily it can be created. Smooth stones, a few brushes of paint, and a little imagination are enough to turn an ordinary yard into something whimsical. Children often find joy in following the snake across the grass, while adults appreciate the way it transforms a simple path into a story told underfoot. The bright colors against fresh green grass or the soft earth of a vegetable patch create a lively contrast that feels both artistic and natural. Such details remind us that gardens are not just for planting, they are for play, for delight, for a sense of wonder. By adding a snake-shaped pathway, you invite movement and laughter, turning even the smallest yard into a place where creativity is free to crawl, twist, and grow. A patio can be more than just a resting place. It can be a canvas where imagination takes root. Picture smooth stones, once plain and forgotten, now painted into tiny creatures, ladybugs with their scarlet shells, bees in golden stripes, butterflies with wings of blue and orange. Arranged along the edge of flower pots or scattered playfully across the tiles, they bring a spark of life that makes the patio feel alive with color. The beauty of this idea lies in how simple it is to achieve. A few stones collected from a riverbank or garden, a set of paints, and an afternoon of creativity are all it takes. Every brushstroke gives character, and every insect design tells a story. Some stones might look polished and neat, while others carry the marks of a beginner's hand. And yet, together, they create a harmony that feels joyful and deeply personal. Placed among pots of lavender, geraniums, or even herbs like rosemary, these painted stones look as though the garden itself has invited a parade of tiny insects to stay. And because they are sturdy and weather-resistant, they remain cheerful through every season, a constant reminder that even the smallest details can transform a space. With each glance, you'll find yourself smiling, reminded that creativity doesn't need to be grand. Sometimes, a handful of painted stones is enough to turn an ordinary patio into a place of wonder and delight. In the heart of a small garden, where space is precious and every corner holds possibility, a swan takes shape, not from feathers, but from the curve of an old tire. Painted in pure white, with a bright orange beak, its arched neck bends gracefully as if watching over the blooms that spill from its body. Geraniums, petunias, and trailing ivy turn this simple creation into a living sculpture, a marriage of craft and nature. What makes this idea so inspiring is how accessible it is. A discarded tire, often seen as waste, can be cut, shaped, and painted into something poetic. The process is not complicated, yet the result carries elegance. By choosing flowers that thrive in your climate, lavender for fragrance, daisies for cheer, or marigolds for warmth, you bring both beauty and practicality into one design. Placed on fresh green grass, or beside a stone pathway, the swan planter becomes more than decoration. It is a statement of renewal, a reminder that even the most ordinary objects can be reborn with a touch of imagination. For small gardens and tiny spaces, where every detail matters, this graceful swan adds charm and character, proving that creativity knows no boundaries. In every backyard, there is room for a little playfulness, a touch of imagination that makes the space feel alive. Picture an old tire, cut and painted in shades of green, transformed into a cheerful frog with wide eyes and a smiling face. Nestled within its round body, flowers bloom in joyful colors. Marigolds glowing like sunshine, petunias cascading in soft purples and pinks. The planter sits proudly on the grass, as though the frog has hopped there to guard the garden. What makes this idea so endearing is the way it blends whimsy with purpose. Children are instantly drawn to its friendly shape, while adults appreciate the creativity of turning waste into wonder. The process is simple, yet the result is unforgettable. Add a few painted spots for character, plant trailing ivy to mimic a frog's playful spirit, and soon your backyard carries not only flowers but also a story. Placed near a patio or along a stone path, the frog planter sparks conversation and laughter. It reminds us that gardening is not only about growth, but also about joy. With a little paint, some flowers, and imagination, you can create a backyard where nature and creativity meet, and where even a humble tire can leap into new life. Along the edge of a tiny patio, a row of turtles seems to march slowly, each one carrying a shell filled not with weight, but with blossoms. These turtles are born from old tires, reshaped and painted in shades of green, their shells patterned with spots, their faces smiling toward the sun. Inside their round bodies, marigolds, daisies, and trailing ivy spill over like treasures found in nature's chest. This idea is more than decoration. It is a playful way to define borders, turning what could have been plain edges into a line of living sculptures. With just a little cutting, a splash of paint, and flowers of your choice, each turtle takes on its own personality. Some might cradle herbs, adding fragrance with every breeze, while others hold colorful blooms to brighten the smallest spaces. Placed side by side, they create rhythm and charm, guiding the eye along a pathway or framing a patio with gentle humor. The sturdiness of the tire ensures they last through seasons, while the flowers refresh them with every bloom. And in their quiet way, these turtles remind us that a garden is not only for growing food or flowers, but also for bringing smiles, telling stories, and filling our homes with warmth. Of a backyard, where the grass meets sunlight, a peacock rises, not from feathers, but from the curve of painted tires. Its body glows in shades of deep blue, while its wide tail fans out in green and gold, patterned like eyes that seem to shimmer under the day's light. Yet what makes this peacock truly alive is not just its form, but the flowers it carries. Petunias spilling in pink, marigolds glowing in yellow, and pansies adding a touch of softness to its bold frame. This is the kind of project that turns the ordinary into spectacle. An old tire, once discarded, now stands as a centerpiece that transforms a simple yard into something unforgettable. The process is approachable: a few cuts, some bright paint, and flowers chosen to suit the season. Place it near a pathway or let it stand proudly at the edge of a garden bed, and it will draw the eye every time, reminding you that beauty often comes from reinvention. A peacock planter is not just decoration, it's a celebration of creativity. It invites color, it invites conversation, and it fills the garden with a sense of wonder. And in the way its painted feathers arch wide, it teaches us that sometimes, even in the smallest spaces, we can make something feel grand.